Looking for fascinating conversations with industry thought leaders? Want to get the inside scoop from local legends? Interested in the stories behind the stories from celebrated visionaries? This is your home for the best our university has to offer. Welcome to We Are IU.
Hello, everyone. I'm J.D. Denny, editor of the IU Alumni Magazine, representing the IU Alumni Association and the IU Foundation. And I'm here with another episode of We Are IU. Today, we're joined by Curt Cignetti, head coach of the Hoosier football team. Coach Cignetti, thank you for being here. I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to the chat.
Pleasure.
Great. Well, maybe we could start with our audience. We're going to be talking to alumni, and they are some of the most loyal and committed fans. What kind of impact does their energy and support have on the program?
Let's face it, there's been some lean times here in football, right? And once our people got a taste, it was over the top. And I can't even explain what that meant to our football team to have a sold-out stadium, waving those towels, thousands outside that couldn't get in, college game day, big noon kickoff, and just so loud. And those are points. So that's 2 touchdowns right there, without question. And to me, that was the most gratifying part of the season, was seeing how the people packed the stadium, the source of pride at the university, the city of Bloomington, the state of Indiana, and our, the national exposure that we received, which benefits the university.
That's right. As an alum, I can personally say it was thrilling. It was thrilling to be in that stadium and watching you guys just roll. It was just a great experience. So thank you, and thank you to the team. And I wonder if you could kind of reflect a little bit on 2024 and kind of spin it out into maybe a bit of a life lesson. Long and great success, winning games, the season, individual plays. How do you kind of balance that success and wanting to kind of revel in that with staying focused on the goal?
Well, being focused on the goal is the key to the drill. And you got to have a blueprint and a plan. You got to have high standards, expectations, accountability throughout your organization. You got to have the right people on your staff and the right people in the locker room. And the leader's job is to create an environment where everybody can thrive. You got to be organized and structured in everything you do and efficient. And we've had a great culture for a long time. We're always looking for better ways, but we know what we're doing. And so was I surprised? No, I was not surprised. College football, college athletics is all about recruiting, development, and retention. And development is a huge piece of it, with what goes on in the strength and conditioning program, and then the football part, the meeting room, the practice field, and how we play the game. So I felt really good about what we got done my first month here, because we had a lot of guys that had gone in transfer portal, and we're down under 40 scholarships at one point. But we brought 22, I think, in 3 weeks, 32 total, 10 more in the spring. I knew we flipped the roster after 21 days here. And then the process just took care of itself. But really, the only expectation for a student athlete in this program is be where you're supposed to be and do your best, and the process will take care of itself. And so the focus is always on improvement. And I think in business and in life, you got to be committed, disciplined, have a great work ethic, you got to keep your eye on the bullseye. And consistency, day in, day out, consistency is so important, and being able to handle success and failure and being persistent. And, we have a relentless mindset and an identity as a football team, which takes time to develop. Every year, you got to start over again. You got to rebuild the house from the foundation up. And that's what we're currently doing now with our summer conditioning program. We've been through winter, we've been through spring ball. Now we're into the summer. And as the head coach, the leader, I've always got anxiety about certain elements of our football team every single year. Okay, but we go out there and we're better in fall camp than we were in spring ball. We build on our successes, and the kids play the game the way we want them to play the game, and the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Useful, for sure. And I might stick with philosophy a little bit, and I'm sure it's different for every player, but when you talk about continuous improvement and just playing up to potential, are there some techniques, approaches that you might take, generally speaking, about how you elicit that from your players?
Well, I think it all begins with the people you bring into your program. And, I sign off on everybody that enters this program. What coach, player, support, personnel. You got to have the right kind of people that are goal oriented, can buy into a team concept and understand what a commitment is and discipline. And they got to be coachable and moldable. And it can't be selfish. So you got the right people, and you got a blueprint and a plan, and you got high standards, and everybody understands the standards because you got good leadership. You've had a history of success, so you've developed leaders in your program, and the other ones sort of catch up and meet the bar, right? And that creates a culture in terms of how you do things and what your expectations are.
That's great. You said that your father, big influence when it comes to football,
Right.
life. Could you talk about the influence he's had on that approach, that philosophy that you employ?
Well, my dad, College Football Hall of Fame. I knew in third grade I wanted to coach. I was the oldest of four. Oldest always has the little toughest. But my dad was a great leader, role model. He stood for all the right things. He was tough. He had a great work ethic. He was very persistent. He was very confident. He never met a challenge or obstacle that he didn't believe that he would not overcome. I mean, they gave him his last rites twice. He had cancer. My senior year of high school, he's head coach at West Virginia. He beat that. He was the first person to beat that particular type of cancer. And that's who he was. And that rubbed off on me. And, I never coached for my dad. And I played for him 1 year. But I learned a lot about life from him. He led by example. And he was very consistent in his behavior throughout the day in, day out, month in, month out. And so tremendous influence on me, no question about it.
You talked a little bit about the upcoming season. What were you most encouraged by, and what are those areas that might be giving you a little anxiety?
Yeah, well, it's a process. And nowadays, college football transfer portal, you got a lot of new faces. So, bringing these guys together and getting them to assimilate and become cohesive and develop that group work ethic takes some time. But I like the way we finished spring ball, and I'm confident we'll have a good camp. And we've got the pieces, and now we got to form the intangibles before we run out that tunnel for the first game. We're building a program. We're strengthening a brand. We got more steps to take. It takes everybody. It takes me, the coaching staff, the players, the support people, the administration, the donors. It takes money. It takes money and support and infrastructure. And the commitment that President Witten and Scott Dolson have made to me has been just outstanding. But it's never enough because, this is the Big Ten. We want to beat Ohio State. We want to beat Michigan, Oregon, Penn State. Our potential is unlimited. We just got to get everybody on board.
Another new thing coming up for the season in 2025, the mascot, the bison.
Yeah.
We hear about it, saw about it. We've got little hints about it. So what's your take on the bison mascot?
I like the bison. My kids were big bison advocates when I first got the job, and they started seeing these pictures of the bison. And I think it's a great mascot. And I think it'll be good. And I think the bottom line is we got to have success on the field. And then when we do, everybody's going to rally around the bison.
If I could get into a little bit your pregame, postgame routines, kind of take us through what that might look like on game day and other times. I know, for instance, you've got the recliner at home. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, the recliner doesn't match the furniture and really hasn't fit in any of our past 3 or 4 moves. And it was on its way out this summer until the Indianapolis Star did an article on it. Now it's untouchable. So it's 30. I've been married 36 years. We've been married, and the recliner's 36 years old. And it's part of us. But, there's a routine, obviously. And depending on what time kickoff is, there's going to be a breakfast. There's going to be a coach's staff meeting here in the offices or on the road in a conference room, kind of a checklist type meeting. There's going to be offense, defensive walkthrough after pregame meal 3.5 hours before kickoff. And then get on the bus and come to the stadium. And then everybody has their own thing. I get dressed and then go down to the coach's room and just sort of sit there in my own little world and I get nerved up a little bit before the game. Go out to pregame, and once that game starts, you got to be locked in.
Coach Cignetti, thank you so much for your time. It was a great conversation. And that'll do it for this episode of We Are IU. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Go IU.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of We Are IU. Your home for fascinating conversations with thought leaders, legends, and visionaries from the university we know and love. New episodes available monthly at myiu.org.